right, it looks like we're live. And tonight I am going to be talking about something very near and dear to my heart that I haven't spoken about that often publicly, but tonight that's what I'm going to be speaking about: the hidden grief and the hidden gifts of divorce, in particular, midlife divorce. If you have ever been through a divorce, if you are going through one now, or if you are considering taking this step, it's a very big step. You are going to want to tune in to this episode of Reclaim Your Radiance. This is my weekly video show where together we learn how to heal, grow, and thrive. And this week, I am talking about divorce. Specifically, I'm going to talk about the hidden grief and the hidden gifts of divorce, in particular in regards to midlife divorce. I know I'm repeating myself, but I'm just sort of letting you know this is a big topic, so repetition. My name is Melanie Starr, and I'm a life coach, master EFT practitioner, Reiki master, and yoga teacher with more than 20 years of experience in holistic health, healing, and wellness. I'm also divorced after a 26-year marriage, and for the past 4 years, I have been working as a coach, mentor, and healer with women going through the painful passage of midlife divorce. It's become incredibly common. We hear the term gray divorce and the stats that show that over 50 is the fastest growing age group for divorce. I personally know women who have divorced after 45 years of marriage, which is just not something that those of us over 50 would have seen in our older generations. To say that it's disruptive to divorce at this point in life, after 20, 30, or even 40 years of marriage, is a monumental understatement. It's been a lot to handle in my own life, and I've seen, read, and heard things from other women these past few years that I could never have imagined before embarking on this journey myself. The stories that I have read as a founding member of the amazing Facebook group, Divorce After 25 Plus Years, would curl your toenails. And the stories I have heard from my clients, well, they would simply break your heart. I hate to have to say it, but the sheer magnitude of disrespect, hostility, and abuse that women have endured from their husbands, and also often from their parents, siblings, and even their children, it's hard to fathom, and it's painful to witness. This is the kind of stuff that is almost always kept behind closed doors in our society. No one wants anyone else to know what is going on, what they're going through at home. They're ashamed or embarrassed, afraid of being judged, or afraid of consequences, that the word could get back to the abusive partner or parent that they've been ratted on. So children hide the fact that they're being abused, and they grow into adults who hide the fact that they've been abused or are being abused. So this is part of the hidden grief of divorce. It's a continuation of the pattern of hiding the magnitude of one's suffering for fear of being rejected, disbelieved, or worst of all, blamed. But then you are left all alone in your grief until you find some safe space and some safe people, I should say, and a safe space where you can share it. Divorce after 25 plus years is one of those spaces, and I can tell you that the collective grief, trauma, and anger of the 8,000 plus women in this group is staggering. Whew. And I can feel it when I'm in that group. I have to be careful not to let it overwhelm me as an empathic sort of person, and because I resonate with a lot of the pain. I have had to learn how to navigate the choppy waters of midlife divorce skillfully, with great attention to nurturing and protecting my energy. This is especially the case since I work with women who are struggling in the emotional storm, and I have to be strong and steady for them so they can let go of their fear and tension and be present with themselves to heal. When I stop and think about it, it feels strange to me to even be saying these words, to be discussing divorce from an insider's perspective. It doesn't seem possible. A mere 10 years ago, I could not have imagined in my wildest speculations that I would or could ever be divorced. This was just not a thing. This was not going to happen to me. I know a lot of people think that. In my heart and mind, I was married to my soulmate and best friend, my business partner, the father of my children, and we were meant destined even to be together forever. There was nothing, I thought, that could ever tear us apart, and I only ever intended to leave our oceanside home in Nova Scotia in a pine box. Well, I was wrong. I left on my own 2 feet, in a hurry, on a sunny July day in 2016. My 2 teenagers came with me. I was holding it together on the surface, but it was the most intensely traumatizing day of my life up to that point. Even more than the day my brother died of H1N1 in 2009, or the day I got hit by a motorcycle when I was riding my bike when I was a teenager. There have been worse days since, but that's beside the point. I had reached the breaking point, and well, I broke. I broke. It still brings tears to my eyes when I think about how broken I was back then. It was unbearable, and yet I had to bear it and be strong for my kids while I was at it. I ranted and trauma dumped my anger on my friends for a while. God bless them for listening. But the grief I carried alone. And paradoxically, I know that I'm not alone in this aloneness. In most cases, it's extraordinarily painful to end a long marriage, no matter what the circumstances have been. And yet we carry the grief alone for the most part. People don't show up with casseroles, and we don't necessarily want to see them anyway because our impulse is to hide. If we were betrayed, we feel humiliated and hide. If we were the ones who cheated, we feel guilty and ashamed and hide. If it was a garden variety, slow motion, toxic relationship meltdown, we are confused and embarrassed and hide. If it was an abusive situation, we are terrified and hide. We hide our tears, we hide our shame, we hide our heartrending grief. We hide our loneliness, we hide our fear, we hide our anger. We lock it all down inside so we can carry on, because now we need our job or business more than ever, and we feel like we can't afford to be seen to be weak. And frankly, the people in our lives don't want to see us as weak. We are women, we are strong, right? I hear it from my clients, and I hear it from the members of my Facebook group. Our adult children do not want to hear about our feelings, not a word. And fair enough in this case for the most part. But neither do our friends after a point, especially those who are married, nor do our family. We discover that we either have to learn to carry it alone or we need to find support. And this is where the hidden gifts of divorce start to come in. There are the obvious gifts, of course, if you were married to someone who neglected, abused, controlled, or cheated on you. The list goes on for this kind of thing, and it is a gift to get away from all of the suffering. But even when the marriage was so unfulfilling and even damaging to them, the ex-wives are grieving. They're not necessarily grieving the man. They may be, but they're also, or perhaps more, grieving for themselves, because they lost themselves in the marriage and they no longer know who they are. They are grieving the life they deserved and thought they would have. And the regret for sticking it out so long for the sake of the children and because of social, religious, and family conditioning, it is intense for so many women. I have heard this from a lot of women. It's hard to get away from the grief. Actually, you can't. You can't go around it. You have to go through it, is one of the sayings I've picked up over the years when it comes to grief. And in my experience, this is true. You have to go through it. You have to feel it to heal it. You have to feel all of it. And that is where the hidden gifts really come in. Because the greatest hidden gift of divorce is healing. If you can truly and deeply heal the pain of a long marriage ending, and the pain of the marriage itself, if that is relevant, and the pain of the childhood that led to that particular marriage, you will have reached a profound level of healing that few people ever experience. The depth of the pain calls you to a deeper level of healing and self-understanding. You would not embark on that normally, right? It takes a lot of work. No one would embark on this kind of healing journey if they didn't have such a strong reason as an apparently broken life at age, let's say, 50. Let me share some of the fundamentals of how to heal when your life as you have known it for possibly decades crashes on the rocks and you're left bobbing about in your little lifeboat. The first thing to know when you're at sea, in a riptide of emotions, is that you've got to get yourself to ground. This is truly fundamental. You have got to ground your energy. Find the land as fast as you can and go lie yourself down on it. Rest into the ground. Take the support of the floor, tune into your body and breathe, and let the tension go. It is scary to let go of the tension that helps you feel like you're in control. And it is terrifying to give way to the waves of grief that come crashing down. But it is safe and healthy to cry. After the storm of tears has passed, rest, connect with your breath, tune into your body and your surroundings, and see if you can let the relentless wheel of your thoughts stop spinning and just settle, even if just for a moment. See if you can find even the slightest feeling of peace and focus your attention on that, because peace is another hidden gift of divorce. When I say divorce too, I know we are talking about divorce from a marriage, but as some of the members of my Facebook group, which is called Reclaim Your Radiance After Midlife Divorce, have talked about as well. When you go through a divorce, there's a lot of other relationships that can get broken in the process, collateral damage. You can lose friends, you can lose in-laws, you can lose family members. I've even heard women talk about their grown children turning against them. It's extremely painful. And those kinds of relationship breakdowns can happen, completely out of the context of divorce, and they are still painful, especially if people have had to cut their parents out of their life, or their children's out of their life, or siblings out of their life. Things like that do happen. It's a kind of divorce, so these principles still do apply to those kinds of relationship breakdowns as well. But I do specifically work with divorce from marriage, but I also do work with other kinds of relationship breakdowns. Anyways, back to the hidden gift of peace. The members of my group often talk about the peace that they have found, and they value this peace as priceless. For many, peace has become their highest value, and they luxuriate in the sheer absence of drama, conflict, and tension in their daily lives. So, if you are going to heal, you need to find safety, peace, and support. Create a sanctuary for yourself, even if it's just a certain corner of the sofa. As long as you have a place you can retreat to rest, breathe, journal, meditate, tap, dream, read, listen to music, pray, cry, whatever it is, find a place where you feel safe and go there as often as you can. You've also got to stay nourished and strong. I know it can be really hard to cook and feed yourself properly on your own after cooking for a family for years, but decent nutrition is essential. It is also part of being grounded. You do need to be solid. You need energy because you are going to need to dig in. Dig into the divorce process and dig into the healing process. A big part of the healing process involves finding your tribe and getting support. Thanks to Facebook, honestly, women can find sisterhood with hundreds and even thousands of other women who are going through the same painful portal. There are not that many groups that are devoted solely to midlife divorce, but I do highly recommend, as mentioned, Divorce After 25 Plus Years, and of course my group, Reclaim Your Radiance After Midlife Divorce. Depending on your own personal resourcefulness and the depth of your trauma, peer support may be enough, but it may not be enough. Sometimes peer support can keep you stuck rerunning the pain rather than challenging you to rise to a new level. So this is where you need a coach, therapist, counselor, or mentor. If you want to grow from the experience of your divorce, if you want to discover and heal your hidden patterns, if you want to learn how to lead yourself forward and become unfuckwithable in your life, you will need professional support, and there is no greater investment than you can make. I know that, even for me, with my background in healing, Reiki and EFT, which is a very powerful tooling heal, I have needed coaching to help me break through my patterns, anchor my sense of self-worth, take, logical, sequential, definite steps forward to grow into my freedom. So here's another one. Growth is a powerful hidden gift of divorce. And it's not really optional if you want to thrive on the other side of the pain. What I have learned through the grief of many painful losses in my life is that the grief does not really fully ever go away. Even when you express it to release some of the pressure, it is still there. You just have to learn how to live with it. And what I have found is that in order to carry it well, you need to get bigger. You need to grow and expand who you are as a person in order to make space for the grief so that you can carry it without being bowed by the pain. And the incredible thing is that as you learn and heal and grow, your self-worth grows along with you. It is an amazing feeling. I highly recommend it because it is not that you are healing back to a baseline. Sorry, I have a frog. Of who you were before you got married. No, you are healing and growing far beyond what you have ever been or ever could have imagined. It's a whole new level. And does it ever feel good to feel worthy after a lifetime of shame, which is what a lot of women have suffered? So self-worth is another hidden gift of healing on the other side of divorce. But guess what you start to feel when you start to feel worthy? You start to feel free. You feel free from the painful emotions that have been keeping you stuck in old patterns of fear, struggle, and lack, for example, or avoidance, self-sacrifice, and self-sabotage. There's lots of patterns that we get stuck in that we may not even be aware of how much they're affecting our lives. However, through the gift of healing, you receive the additional gifts of peace, growth, self-worth, and freedom. Without the gift of healing, you won't be able to enjoy the gifts of peace, growth, self-worth, and freedom. Without the gift of healing, you could continue to be a prisoner to your emotions for years. Women have come to me 5, 10, even 15 years after the end of their marriage because they are still in pain. Sadly, some of them are in terrible, terrible pain because after their divorce, they got into another relationship that turned out to be really abusive. Like if their marriage was abusive, the second relationship is more so. This happens a lot. I've seen it many times. This downward spiral happened because they did not necessarily do the healing to find the necessary self-worth to attract and maintain a healthy relationship. Not that you have to be fully healed to start a relationship. A good relationship is one of the most powerful healing forces there is. But you do have to reach a certain baseline of self-awareness and self-worth to know what you will not tolerate and to be able to detach upon recognizing the early warning signs. I have put together a free resource, 7 Steps to Healing Through Divorce, that goes into a lot more detail about the process of healing than what I can do here. I have identified 7 key steps to take that will set you up to heal and thus receive the gifts of healing and the hidden gifts of divorce. You will find the link in the download, or the link to the download in the comments below this video in a little while after this live stream stops. The great thing about this guide is that not only does it provide an overview of each of the 7 steps, but when you download it, you unlock another layer of content that will go into your email every few days, going into much more detail about each and every step. So I hope you found this talk to be helpful if this situation describes you in any way. And if you're considering ending your marriage, you want to also consider about what these hidden gifts are and what the hidden grief is, because it's not an easy road. There are so many women our age who are facing this challenge and feel like they are alone. If you know anyone in this rocky boat, please send them the link to my guide or send them to me. There is no need to suffer alone. There are support systems in place, and there are people who can guide you on a journey so that you will heal and find for yourself the hidden gifts of divorce. If it's you, please reach out. I will be there for you. Thanks for joining me for tonight's episode of Reclaim Your Radiance. I appreciate your time and attention and hope that you find this guide to be useful. And I'd be very interested in your feedback. You can reach me at melanie@melaniestarr.ca. Thanks so much for joining me. Have a lovely evening.